The Hispanic Latino population in Michigan is at 4.6% and growing, making a huge economic impact. Hello and thanks for joining us. I'm Laurel Hess and this is Comcast Newsmakers. Joining me now is a board trustee for Mi Alma, Rick Garcia. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Laurel.
Mi Alma, I'll let you explain what that is an acronym for. It's a bit of a mouthful.
Sure. Mi Alma stands for Michigan Alliance of Latinos Moving Towards Advancement, a newly formed nonprofit here based in Lansing. Basically, we are an advocate organization that provides resources to help with families across the state on areas of health and education and economic development.
And there are many organizations doing that exact same thing in various communities throughout the state of Michigan, and your goal is really to try to bring them all together for a common goal and sort of be like an overseer?
Exactly. We're looking at a statewide agenda. For a number of years we've had brought together leaders throughout the state from the west side to the east side. And in that effort, we were able to identify those issues that we would like to address and do what we call a statewide needs assessment, which we're in the process of gearing up towards. And that data will be very critical in today's area of concern that we're looking at in the future.
Because you know that there is a gap out there, for example, when it comes to education or employment, and that there are certain particular needs within the Hispanic Latino population, but convincing the lawmakers with statistics and having some hard data is what you need to do in order to solve those problems.
Absolutely, because most of the state's needs are obviously, we talk about education. So when we look at the issues that we see right now in our communities throughout the state about the education attainment, which is lower and has decreased in the Latino Hispanic family populations, as well as healthcare, where the access to those resources are very big concern, and the alarming rate of diabetes and type 2 diabetes and obesity, and those are things that we want to convey, those resources that are available, and that's really the crux of it.
Because ultimately your goal is not to assess what the needs are, but to close the gap.
Absolutely. Closing the gap, and that means strengthening the partner and collaborative relationships with many of our key communities from Detroit to Saginaw to Grand Rapids and Holland area. And by that, there are some existing groups who do well, good affinity groups who have really rallied together both on the social services and also in business and in commerce as well too.
Do you see, is the population of Hispanic and Latinos here in Michigan growing on a year-to-year basis?
It has, and you have to not only look at the immigration population, which, by the way, has been a key factor in terms of our younger population growth, but also the fact that the population is shifting in the workforce, and that's the reason why we're trying to address the needs, because we see the workforce changing as we're aging in the state, but seeing more people getting into the workforce market, both job skill and in professionals.
And what about Michigan in particular, our relationship because of the automotive industry with Mexico? And how important is that economically as well in integrating the whole Hispanic Mexican population with our relationship with Mexico?
It's key because Mexico, as you know, in Michigan, about $10.8 billion of exports come out of Michigan from Mexican-related industries in the automotive side, next to the fact we're above China, which is about $3.3 billion. So when you look at all the entrepreneurs, all the businesses as well, we feel that the increased demand of those skill sets are going to be very key.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Laura.
For more information on today's topic, you can head to mi-alma.org. Today's Comcast Newsmaker was Rick Garcia, a board trustee for Mi Alma.